Hello, it's another Wednesday and the coronavirus beat continues. Of course, News Extra is here with stories on the infection, the palliative care, recoveries and efforts by governments, organizations and individuals to win the war. Also today, the Muslim world gears up for an unusual Ramadan fast. We will tell you all about that. Actually, COVID-19 and the Ramadan fast are not the only stories we have for you on this news package with the extra touch. But I will not let the whole cat out of the bag. I will leave you to flow with the stories as we unravel them. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Omar Buba and this is News Extra. And we begin. The head of the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention has warned that the United States could experience a second wave of the coronavirus. Let's join Joyce Omitu for a global update on COVID-19.
We begin with Nigeria. As at 11:25 p.m. 21st of April, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says there are now 782 confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported in the country, 197 recoveries, while 25 people have died. The recent figures registered by the NCDC show that Lagos is leading with 430 cases, FCT 118, Kano 73 cases, Osun and Ogun States 20 cases each, while Rivers has 3 and Anambra and Sokoto 1 case each. Generally in Africa, a tally by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. reveal that the continent now has 25,954 cases, 1,202 deaths and nearly 7,000 recoveries. Let's shift our attention now to other parts of the world. Recent figures by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. reveal that 2,588,584 people globally have been infected with the virus, while 180,016 have died. The death toll in the United States has climbed by 2,751 in the past 24 hours, bringing the total to 45,431. Spain has registered 208,389 cases and 21,717 deaths, while Italy reported 183,957 cases. Other countries with over 100 cases include France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. In other news, a possible vaccine for COVID-19 developed by a German firm has been given the green light for human testing. The trial will begin with 200 healthy people aged between 18 and 55 being given the vaccine. Russia recorded 5,236 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours, bringing its nationwide tally to 57,999. And that's it from here. Many thanks for staying. I am Joyce Ometu.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has appealed to state governments to ensure compliance with the directives by the Sultan of Sokoto for Muslims to avoid congregational prayers during the coming Ramadan period. This was at the daily briefing by the task force in Abuja, and Mitarik Beng has that.
This year's Ramadan will certainly be one with a difference, as many states are on lockdown in the bid to contain the spread of coronavirus. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force, Boss Mustafa, acknowledged that the decision to suspend congregational prayers during the period is sacrificial but necessary to prevent community transmission.
I want to use this medium to thank His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, for endorsing the recommendations of the Emergency Fatwa Committee by issuing a statement on the suspension of obligatory religious activities such as Jumat, congregational, and other sessions during the month of Ramadan. I similarly implore all state governors to please consider these directives before taking further decisions.
Respite came the way of university lecturers whose salaries were withheld for not being on the IPPIS platform.
Mr. President has approved the immediate payment of the withheld February and March 2020 salaries of lecturers not registered on the IPPIS platform. All Vice Chancellors are to revalidate the BVN of the affected lecturers before the Accountant General of the Federation can carry out the payments.
On the spate of community transmission of coronavirus in the country, the task force says its satellite is on Kano and other high-risk states.
Federal Ministry of Health, through the Chief Consultant Epidemiologist, has been with the Public Health Department of Kano State to find out what was true about the news of burials going on there. If these burials were out of normal and they are carrying out further questioning of people to see what was peculiar about the story.
Nigerians were again advised to disregard fake news not emanating from the daily briefings of the task force.
I must reiterate that the task force has not released any official statement on a complete lockdown. I request that the public and the media exercise caution in circulating or publishing unverified news.
The security agencies are working around the clock to apprehend and unveil those who are behind this spate of fake news.
The Presidential Task Force puts the recovery rate from the coronavirus in the country at more than 90% and appeals to Nigerians who experience symptoms not to go into hiding but report such symptoms promptly to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Economic Sustainability Committee, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, is enlarging the pool of options open to Nigeria in achieving the administration's plan to turn the current economic challenges to opportunity for Nigerians. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that the new sustainability plan is almost ready for submission to the President for approval.
Now, the Economic Sustainability Committee is leaving no stone unturned for the new federal government's post-COVID-19 economic stimulus. For example, earlier in the week, on Tuesday to be precise, Chairman of the committee, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, through a video conferencing, met with the representatives of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The committee has been collaborating with domestic sectors of the Nigerian economy, and now the Vice President is interfacing with international agencies for the purpose of rolling out options as President Muhammadu Buhari has directed.
What Mr. President has asked us to do is to devise a strategy in order to be able to keep the economy going, and also to make provisions to ensure that we're able to retain jobs and indeed provide more jobs.
We're looking at various ways and means to support each sector of the economy, providing for each sector clear interventions that will be designed with the primary purpose of creating jobs and ensuring that businesses stay afloat during these difficult times.
The 7-member Economic Sustainability Committee was set up as a response to the challenges in the economic front resulting from the fall in the prices of oil in the international market, as well as the disruptive impact of the pandemic that has disrupted the global economy. And it is expected to submit its report soon. And from every indication, the President intends to act speedily on the Osinbajo Committee's report in the State House. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In another development, Governor Nasir El-Rufai has tested negative for COVID-19 after 4 weeks of quarantine and strict medication. The governor confirmed this through a non-conventional video broadcast to the people of Kaduna State. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports.
while confirming his test results, expressed happiness over the spontaneous messages of concern and solidarity from all Nigerians, and particularly applauded the professional commitment of his handlers from the State Ministry of Health and Borodiko Teaching Hospital, Kaduna, describing his deputy and chairperson of the State COVID-19 Standing Committee, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, as highly resourceful.
We must all work hard to ensure that we keep coronavirus or COVID-19 out of Kaduna State. We have lower infection rates than expected due to the stringent measures we imposed very early in our state. But we cannot let our guards down. We live in dangerous times. This disease is a threat to our humanity, our lives, and our livelihoods. As someone that has experienced it, I will not wish it on my worst enemy.
Governor El-Rufai therefore restated his commitment to ensure more proactive curtailing of the pandemic in Kaduna State through more stringent preventive measures and treatment of the few that fall victim to the virus. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Marajingi.
And contrary to the belief of many that testing positive for coronavirus is a death sentence, while survivors of the virus say overcoming the infection, among other measures, includes boosting self-immunity and regular exercises before, during, and after the episode in order to avoid degeneration of full-blown disease. And Funke Ibidamitan tells us more.
The news of Governor Seyi Makinde testing positive for coronavirus alongside other high-profile individuals in Ibadan no doubt further entrenched the awareness and the need for individual protection against COVID-19.
With about 16 cases of confirmed coronavirus in Oyo State, it seems the people are quite aware of the deadly and devastating consequences of coronavirus. Although the town is not under total lockdown, the people say they know that this disease is here and they are self-protecting.
I washing my hand time to time frequently, and then by applying nose cover on my face.
According to what the NCDC said, they said we should sanitize our hand and the usage of nose mask.
With the subsequent negative result for COVID-19 and coming out of quarantine, the survivors are back on their beats. The Chief Medical Director of the University College Hospital UCH Ibadan, Professor Jesse Abiodun Otegbayo, and Provost College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, Professor Olapade Olaokpa, recounts their experiences.
The line of treatment was not actually the antiviral treatment, that is, because for now there's no specific drug that is known to work for the virus. There's so much that is yet to be known about the virus itself, let alone its treatment. So it's an evolving scenario. So what I did in terms of taking a balanced diet, taking a lot of fluids, exercising, and taking some vitamin supplements were just ways of boosting my immune system.
The issue was to stay healthy. So to my mind, that was both a mental thing. So I stayed mentally strong. Like I said, I was working, I was raising funds, I was discussing with my colleagues. So that helped me stay strong mentally. Physically, I was doing things within my house. I was exercising. I actually succeeded in losing 5 kilos, which I've been struggling with.
Although both patients remained asymptomatic all through the period of quarantine, they called on lifestyle changes in the fight against COVID-19.
In Ibadan, Funke Ibidamitan, NTA News.
And from Ibadan, we'll take you to Kano, where the Kano state government is taking additional control measures against community transmission of COVID-19. And Chairman of the State Task Force on COVID-19 and Deputy Governor Nasir Yusuf Gawuna, who disclosed this at a news conference, explained that this is coming against the increasing rate of transmission in the last few days. And Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
Kano State recorded its first case of COVID-19 on the 11th of this month, and in the last 10 days, the number continued to increase exponentially. As at the last hours of Tuesday, the number stands at 73.
We have listed over 300 contacts and we are following up on 259 of these contacts.
After presentation of situation reports by stakeholders, the Deputy Governor announced additional measures to forestall community transmission of the disease, including suspension of congregational prayers, tafsir, and any other public gathering during the holy month of Ramadan.
We urge the people of Kano State to strictly adhere to the advice of the professionals.
He, however, announced the relaxation of the lockdown order on Thursday between 6 a.m. and 12 midnight to allow Muslims to prepare for the fasting season.
From then on, it is necessary for the state to continue the lockdown because of these rising cases.
The Deputy Governor also enjoined people of Kano and other Nigerians to ignore all fake news being circulated on the social media regarding COVID-19 in Kano State. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Well, thank you so much, Abdullahi Mustafa, for that. And to talk more, I have with me, joined via Skype, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Thank you so much for joining us on News Extra, Mr. Governor. Well, I'm going to begin, Mr. Governor, with, a question that says reports, of facility due to the so-called strange illness that have been all over the media, coronavirus cases too, as reported by the state government and NCDC, have witnessed a spike within a short period of time. So, Mr. Governor, if you can hear me, what is going on?
Well, thank you very much for this very important observation and question. Certainly, there is an increase of the number of positive cases here in Kano. This can be attributed to the high population. If you can see what is happening all over the world, like in New York City, like in Lagos and in Kano. So it looks that it is an attribute of high population, especially density population. But equally the same, you see, we were taken unawares because we had some infections, people who came from Istanbul in Turkey, and the index one went to Abuja and went to Lagos and came back. And we did not get this information until this will contacted so many people. I think this is the beginning of it, and now it has been compounded with the community transmission. But however, we have built up our capacity in terms of physical development and in terms of manpower development. We have established all the isolation centers with the necessary facilities and also with the necessary manpower in order to tackle the situation. But as you know that for a long time, we were not having the testing center until of recent. And even recently, the testing center was off for some 2 days. And you know the implication of that, because those who are supposed to be tested, they have been going around unnoticed, and we could not even track them. And even if we track them, since we have not tested their samples, it's very difficult to determine the situation.
Yes, Mr. Governor, is it true that, thank God you talked about, the testing center, and so people are saying the testing center, was suspended due to lack of test kits. Has it been reopened now, and do we have the test kits there available?
Well, I think it has been reopened, but what we have learned is that there will be some fumigation, which will also take another day or so, and we believe by tomorrow or next tomorrow, that center will be open. But we know the implication that's because there are people who have submitted their samples, we are quarantining them, and there are some people that must come forward. We have to fish them out because of the high contact. So I think to open that center as early as possible is very, very important to us.
And we have that there have been, violations of the stay-at-home order in the city. What is the situation with the enforcement of the lockdown?
Well, we have increased the surveillance by the security agencies, and so far I think people are abiding by it. But we also hold a meeting with various, stakeholders in order to see the issues at stake, especially that His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, has made a pronouncement that they are confirming we have already to our people that there shouldn't be Friday prayers in the mosque, and also even the tafsir, the sermons should be done at home, no gathering of people. And I think if people can abide by this, it will reduce, the level of, breaking that rules and regulations.
It would sure reduce that. And we also understand that the state government has relaxed the lockdown order to enable, residents prepare for the Ramadan. What happens then after tomorrow?
Well, the lockdown will continue after tomorrow. As earlier mentioned, we are lifting the lockdown from 6 a.m. tomorrow to 12 midnight tomorrow, so that our people will have the opportunity to go to the neighborhood markets and do the purchases in preparation of the Ramadan that is likely to start on Friday. But the lockdown after that will continue for the next 7 days.
Okay, Mr. Governor, then my last question, what is the capacity of the state to contain the pandemic? The issue of palliatives, especially, with the coming of the Ramadan period.
Pardon?
Okay, I'm talking about, the palliatives. What would you do about it, most especially during this period of Ramadan?
Yes, we are ready for that. We appointed a powerful committee that collected some food materials and also collected some money. And by tomorrow, we'll start distributing the palliatives, because we have designed a structure to ensure that there is a wide spread for the benefit of these palliatives, because we have taken the 484 wards into consideration, and in each ward we have considered the polling units. So we have taken 300,000 family units, and we are starting with 50,000 units in the distribution of the palliatives. But we are waiting for assistance from the federal government. So far, we have been looking, because our finances really are down, and it's difficult for us to continue as it is. But we have no alternative. We have applied to the federal government, and I believe we will expect some, some financial assistance to that effect.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Governor, for that information. And the thing is that, I earlier asked you about, the fatalities. So many people, they said, died. So what is it? You actually did not talk on that. And I know people would really, want to, have the answers to that strange illness in Kano.
Thank you. It's part of the fake news. Of course, there is death, but there is no unusual death rate in Kano. When we computed the number of deaths, we found that there are normal deaths that occur from day to day, even though there's no issue of normal death anyway. But what we want to inform you is that so far we have only one death out as a result of coronavirus. And all other deaths that have been recorded are normal deaths here in Kano, and they have not been attributed to coronavirus. However, further investigation is going on, but with the help of World Health Organization members, we have drafted people at all the cemeteries who will be taking the death on daily basis, and also will be finding out the source of the death. If it is in the hospital, then we find out the cause of the death. And if it is in the houses, then we contact the families. So we are building a very comprehensive data on the death issue. So I think as of now, we believe that that number of deaths is just a kind of negative propaganda on the issues of Kano.
Thank you so much, Mr. Governor, for that information, and thank you so much for coming on a News Extra. And moving on, President Muhammad Buhari has received more condolence messages from presidents of Guinea-Bissau, General Umaru Sissoco Embalo, and Guinea, Professor Alpha Conde, and Liberia, Dr. George Manewe, and Benin Republic, Patrice Guillaume Talon, over the passing of former Chief of Staff Malang Abakari. And Adebala Brooksland Sunday reports.
A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, states that in a letter, the President of Guinea-Bissau expressed deep condolences and sincere feelings of compassion to President Buhari, family of the deceased, members of staff of the President's office, and the Nigerian people. The President of Guinea-Bissau says Mr. Kyari actively contributed to the strengthening of relations and cooperation between the two countries and will be deeply missed. Others who sent messages to President Buhari are Ambassador of Japan, Mr. Kukuta Yutaka, Head of Mission, Embassy of the Republic of Congo, Omba Olenga, and Charge d'Affaires, Gambia High Commission, Amadou Tahal. The Embassy of the State of Libya and Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, former Principal Secretary to President Goodluck Jonathan, Ambassador Hassan Tukur, and former Minister of Information, Prince Tony Momo. Former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Nuratu Batagarawa, and Benue State-born Professor of Law and Jurisprudence in the United States, Professor Dick Azinge, also commiserated with the President.
And similarly, members of international community and business circles have continued to commiserate with President Buhari over the demise of late Malam Kyari. And Abakar Usman Akwanga reports.
Among the latest sympathizers is the heir to the revered British throne, Prince Charles. It describes the death of late Malam Kyari as painful and expresses deepest sympathy to President Buhari, the government and people of Nigeria over the monumental loss. In a condolence message to the president, Prince Charles regretted the death of Kyari, saying the vacuum created by his exit will be greatly felt for a long time. President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, has also extended his condolence message to President Muhammadu Buhari. In a message from the Embassy of Rwanda, the president expresses solidarity of the government and people of Rwanda to Nigeria and prayed God to comfort the country. In his own message, an industrialist, Abdul Samad Rabiu, describes the death of late Chief of Staff to the President as a colossal loss. He says Abba Kyari served the administration with diligence and utmost loyalty. Abdul Samad Rabiu says late Abba Kyari was deeply committed to the service of Nigeria, especially the diversification agenda of the economy by the federal government, and prayed for the repose of his soul. The Emir of Garzagamu, Ahmad Tijani Ibn Saleh, Emir of Adeja, Al-Aji Adamu Abubakar Maji, the Secretariat of Developing D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation, headquarters in Ankara, Turkey, and retired Ambassador Chinade separately sent their deep condolences to the President. Former Minister of Labour, Dr. Emeka Wogu, former Managing Director of Guardian newspaper, Eluem Emeka Izeze, and the President of Alumni Association of National Institute, Mohammed Abubakar, also condoled with President Buhari over the loss of his reliable and hard-working Chief of Staff. They described late Kyari as an intelligent public officer who brought his experience to bear in the service of Nigeria. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And former Vice President Mohamed Namadi Sambo has condoled with President Muhammadu Buhari on the sudden loss of his Chief of Staff, Malam Abakari. Namadi Sambo described Abakari as a man of impeccable character who renders selfless service to the nation. He commended Nigerians for their resilience in this period of national and global challenge brought about by COVID-19. The Forum of South Monarchs has also expressed its heartfelt condolences to President Muhammadu Buhari and the country over the demise of the late Chief of Staff, Malam Abakari, and Secretary of the Forum, Oba Idanisi, asked President Buhari to take solace in the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, regarding Muslims that died from pandemics. Similarly, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, described Malam Abakari as a technocrat par excellence, a man of strong principles and a loyalist to the core. And up ahead, as the coronavirus pandemic, redefines almost every aspect of human activities, both the physical and spiritual code of conduct for Muslim faithful amidst COVID-19 as they brace for the Ramadan fast. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, follow the instructions on social distancing. The irresponsibility of the few can lead to the death of many. Your freedom ends where other people's rights begin. The security agencies have risen to the challenges posed by this unprecedented situation with gallantry, and I commend them. I urge them to continue to maintain utmost vigilance, firmness, as well as restraint in enforcing the restriction orders while not neglecting statutory security responsibilities.
Stay-home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
The National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESRIA, an agency of the Federal Ministry of Environment, advises that infectious waste generated from isolation centers and treatment of COVID-19 infected persons are disposed according to laid down guidelines. Disinfection of buildings, streets, and equipment should be done using set standards. Waste handlers should wear appropriate personal protective equipment properly. Waste generators should package their waste for transport to treatment facilities, and each containerized infectious waste must be securely closed and labeled. Don't reuse disposable gear. Proper handling of infectious waste will reduce the spread of coronavirus. For detailed guidelines and further information, visit nesria.gov.ng. Email dg@nesria.gov.ng. Helplines 090-1066-1915. Nesria, ensuring a cleaner and healthier environment for all Nigerians.
Stay connected with your loved ones from wherever you are with the Airtel Home Broadband Device offer. Get up to 160 gigabyte free on Airtel routers with just 19,999 naira, and up to 55 gigabyte free on Airtel MiFis with 9,999 naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
I write on behalf of myself, members, management and staff of the National Assembly Service Commission to commensurate with Your Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, on the demise of your Chief of Staff, Malam Abakari, whose death was announced on Friday, 17th April 2020. Malam Abakari in his lifetime was renowned as an astute public servant, a loyal and trusted aide to Mr. President. He was a straightforward, honest and hard-working man. He was a detribalized Nigerian who built bridges across various ethnic nationalities of Nigeria. He was an accomplished journalist, a lawyer of high repute and a banker par excellence. He died while rendering service to his dear fatherland. Indeed, his demise is not only a great loss to Borno State, but the whole country at large. I pray that the Almighty Allah will grant you and his family the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss, and may Allah grant him eternal rest. Once again, please accept my heartfelt condolences. Signed, Engineer Kadi Amshi, FNSC Executive Chairman.
You've seen me promote Lifebuoy soap, but today I urge you to use whichever soap that is nearest to you, because washing hands with soap helps to fight the coronavirus. This is a public service announcement from Lifebuoy.
Power outages have become part of our lives, and life can be a nightmare without power. That's why, now more than ever, you need to take control of your life with Omaha Portables.
The power output of every Omaha generator is exactly as stated in its power rating.
As long as there's Omaha, your home will have the reliable power you thoroughly deserve.
Omaha generator gives us peace of mind because it never fails us.
Omaha Portable Generators, inspired by you. Amazing Bluetooth, gripping 4K, high-def satellite receiver, vibrant colors, make you feel truly immersed in the action. Omaha Television, inspired by you.
Improved household hygiene is essential to keep your family safe. Did you know that the sodium hypochlorite, the active ingredient in hypo bleach, is equipped to fight viruses and germs? Add some bleach to water, soak a clean napkin in diluted bleach, and wipe off germs from common contact surfaces. Wipe off with hypo. Disinfect your home with hypo bleach always.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Welcome back to News Extra. You know, at perilous times like this, coronavirus days, there is, nothing like being prepared for anything. That's why the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, is requesting for certification of more COVID-19 testing centers in the state. The governor made the appeal when the Director General of Nigeria's Center for Disease Control, NCDC, was on an assessment tour of COVID-19 facility in the state, and Kayode Oladosu has the details.
Assessing the facilities procured at the Olodo Infectious Disease Center, the Director General of NCDC noted that the medical equipment at the center will not only serve your state, but the country at large.
Working together with the WHO support, the NCDC support, and all aspects of government, we can really create a great example for the country here in Ibadan.
Hosting the officials of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization's representatives, Governor Makinde reiterated that one of the measures to curb the spread of COVID-19 is to establish more laboratories for testing of the virus.
The fact that we want to do mass testing, our aspiration is actually to test 10,000 people within the shortest possible time. So we need your support.
The Director General of Nigeria Disease Control was in Oyo State to evaluate the steps taken by the state government in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic in Ibadan. Kayode Oladosu, NTA News.
Now from Ibadan, we'll take you now to Benue State, where the Benue State Governor, Samuel Otom, has ordered the complete facelift of the General Hospital in Boko for efficient and effective healthcare delivery, especially during this period of coronavirus pandemic. He gave the directive when he inspected COVID-19 isolation center earmarked by a team of health workers and donated to the state government. And Charles Abba reports.
The General Hospital, Boko, which was established in 1975, has continued to cater for the health needs of the community and its environs. As a proactive initiative to tame the tide of the pandemic, a team of health practitioners made their contribution by the donation of an isolation center. Governor Samuel Otom, who appreciated the gesture, made a personal donation of 5 million naira to the project and directed the Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Sunday Ongbabo, and that of Housing and Urban Development, Ekpe Ogbu, to immediately evaluate the cost of dilapidation of the facility for onward submission to the state government for necessary action.
Similar hospitals in Benue State that have not been given attention for over 40 years still exists. but we had to start from somewhere.
The governor also ordered people encroaching into the hospital's land to keep off or face the wrath of the law. Meanwhile, the governor also inspected the ongoing work on the Tortue Palace and commended the quality of job done and pledged to do all within government's resources to ensure that the project is completed within 2 months.
This is a very noble project that should be completed for the paramount ruler to settle down so that he can discharge his duties.
The money is not easy by now, so whatever the governor can arrange with him, let him go ahead and make the Tea people proud.
The contract for the project, which was awarded 2 years ago, has reached 90% completion. From Boko, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Well, thanks, Charles, for that update. Now, the Sultan of Sokoto and Chairman Jama'atul Nasrul Islam, Mohammed Saad Abubakar III, has urged Muslim faithful in the Ramadan period to pray for the end of the coronavirus pandemic. The JNI, in a statement, wishes Muslims a rewarding Ramadan in advance, but admonished faithful to stay at home and pray with their families during this coronavirus pandemic, noting Islam positions on plagues and pandemics. On Tafsir, the JNI urged Muslims to explore the various online platforms to conduct it, praying that Allah, who knows all, will accept all deeds, as well as the end of coronavirus pandemic will soon end. It commended federal government over efforts to end the pandemic and urged Muslims to cooperate with authorities to end it. Meanwhile, the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has asked the Muslim Ummah to look out for the new Ramadan crescent from Thursday, 23rd April 2020, equivalent to 29th of Shaban, 1441 after Hijrah. And in a matter of days now, Muslims around the world will commence the Ramadan fast in a way that has not been experienced before by many. No thanks to coronavirus. And guests on NTA's Tuesday Live took time to look at this unprecedented situation and gives useful insight on how to have a rewarding Ramadan fast. Well, Doi India will take it up from here.
As one of the 5 pillars of Islam, the observance of fasting during the month of Ramadan is imperative for Muslims faithful. The period is characterized with increasing attendance of worshippers, tafsir, and communal breaking of fast. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. With the concerns raised, however, on the observance of the Ramadan fast, especially in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, guests on the program encourage Muslims to yield to the instructions of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and other Muslim bodies, all of whom called for the avoidance of large gatherings.
His Eminence has approved that we suspend Taraweeh prayers in the mosque. Not only Taraweeh, itikaf, that is seclusion that we do towards the end of Ramadan in the month, is also suspended for this year. We have also issued comprehensive guidelines on what will happen in case a Muslim dies during the COVID.
And it has caused a lot of death, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world. And therefore, we have to take precautions.
So it's something that has been coming. When HIV came, it was a major pandemic also. Within a